All right. Well, good morning or good afternoon, everybody, depending on where you are logging on from. Welcome to a Aplos Advanced webinar. It is Tuesday, the 24th of April, and we are glad you're with us. So I want to welcome you. I know there's a couple people still logging on, so just for sake of housekeeping and all of that, if you could just, a couple of you just kind of let me know that you can hear my voice and see the screen in front of you. You should see the Managing Church Mission slide right there. So that would be great. Super great. Good. Welcome. I know a couple of you were early. Doug, welcome. A couple of the other of you. So again, we want to welcome you to this is our advanced webinar series. As you may or may not know, here at Aplos Software, we do a number of weekly and monthly webinars. Some are just straight demos, other are educational in purposes. And today's webinar, we are going to be talking about how to manage church missions using Aplos software. So we're so glad you are with us. My name is Dan Kimball. I am a product specialist here at Aplos, and I have the privilege to work here at Aplos, but also work with our donor management software, our accounting software. I do some customer success, and I get to work with a lot of you. And hello, Fred. Welcome. And I have the honor and privilege of being a part of this great team here at Aplos. So again, just a little bit about Aplos. Of course, we are accounting, donor management. Of course, many of you who are logging on today are going to be Aplos customers. Just by sake of just kind of real quick poll, though, want to just kind of get a sense. Could you just let me know, just using the poll right there? I want to know whether or not you are currently an Aplos customer, just to kind of get a sense of who's kind of logging in today. Totally fine. Okay, great. So we got about 76%. Good. No pressure either way. Just want to get a sense. So as I go through the demo, you kind of get a sense of kind of who's on and who's not. So great. Just about another 5 seconds on that poll, and we'll close that down. Real easy way to do that. All right, let's go about 5 more seconds and we'll close that poll. So about 71% of you guys are actually currently using customers. We have 70% no, and then 13% considering it. Great, welcome. If you are a first-time attender of one of our webinars, we want to welcome you to that. So here at Aplos, we are really proud of our customer support, our customer success. So again, moving forward, if you do want to get in touch with us, if you're a customer, or if you're just checking us out, give us a call. Use our live chat, use our email or our phone support. We have a great support center that's set up to answer questions. We have tutorials and videos and all of that. So we're super proud of that. And of course, we have our webinars and personalized demos. So it's something that we're really proud of. Again, my name is Dan Kimball. I am a product specialist here at Aplos. I have the privilege to work a lot in donor management. I actually came out of the fundraising world for about 23 years. I spent doing professional fundraising for nonprofit organizations. And about 2.5 years ago, I had the opportunity to come here to Aplos to help build and design our donor management product, as well as do some other things here for the company. So it's a privilege and honor to do this each week. So, but with that, let's just kind of dive in. Just again, one other housekeeping item. The way we do kind of Q&A, question and answer during this webinar is you are more than welcome to type in a question as we go. What I'll do is I kind of bounce back and forth between the slides, the software, and then the GoToWebinar program. And so what I'll do is I'll monitor questions. I'll take all questions. We'll do some at the end, but if I see something pop up that's needs to be answered right away, I'll do my best to get to it. But go ahead and type in the question, and if I forget or if I don't get to it right away, don't worry, I'll come to the end. So that's how you can do that. So feel free to use that Q&A box as we go. So, and then also one other last thing as we get going. just know that we do we record all of our webinars, and we'll provide the slide deck as well. For those of you who are listening, if you want to hear it later, or you want to share it with some of your staff or other folks that you're in contact with, we'll have that available. So typically what happens is about 2 days after the webinar, you'll get an email from me saying that the webinar is up, the recording's up. So. All right, so this could be a little different if you've joined some of our other webinars, in that I am going to kind of bounce back and forth between the slide decks that you're looking for, and I'm actually going to go into the software a little bit during this demo and show you a few features of the software. But basically what we're going to do today is we're really going to kind of drill down and look into how you can use Aplos to track missions, both short-term, full-time missionaries and missions within your church and organizations. And the reason why we decided to do this is because we do have a lot of folks that are mission-based, or mission organizations, or churches that track missions, and they want to know, how can Aplos help them? So we're going to kind of show you some examples of how to track those donations, kind of talk about some best uses out there, some folks who are using our software currently, show you some best practices, and then just highlight a couple tools that we have. And then, of course, if you are interested, for those of you who are not Aplos customers, if you want more info, this is not necessarily a sales pitch per se, other than just say, I'm going to leave you some contact info. You can get in touch with us about accessing a demo, a free trial, whatever. So hopefully this will be, the takeaway will be some real hands-on and some practical things for you to do. So again, just to kind of as a high level, just again know what makes Aplos unique is our ability to do good fund accounting. For those of you who are new to the term fund accounting, of course, fund accounting is different than business accounting. In the business world, typically what you're doing is you're tracking profit and loss, and that's pretty much it. Most businesses, at the end of the day, they either make money or they lose money. And with nonprofits and churches and missions, it looks very different, because what you're doing is you're tracking money not by profit and loss, but by income, expenses, and how much money is left over each year, and where does that money go. And of course, then you have people give money for a specific purpose, and how do you track that? So this is where Aplos comes into play. Aplos is a Greek word for simple. We believe that you shouldn't have to be an accountant to do good fund accounting or do accounting at all. So we've built and created the ability to track funds so that you can look at each fund and track the income and expenses within those funds. And so one of the kind of core points of this webinar is going to be how you can use fund accounting to better track your missions. So just by sake of some overview, a fund is money your organization receives that must be used for a specific purpose. So people give money to your church or to your mission, and they want that money to be spent for something specifically. In this case scenario, you're either going to have people that give to the missions fund, or in certain cases, they're giving you money to give to a specific mission project, or even a missionary. So those are kind of some of the scenarios that we're going to look at, and how you can use Aplos for those kinds of things. What makes funds unique to nonprofits is that the fund's money must be spent on that purpose. It's the difference of a designated and an undesignated fund. So you see here in the drawing here that you've got money. People can either say, I want the money to go to the general fund, which is typically like the building, the lights, the phones, the administration, or a specific purpose, or they want it to go to the people who are going to represent maybe a program, a project, a ministry, something like that. So one of the core ways in which people can track their missions in Aplos is by creating funds. And we're going to show you kind of a quick example what that looks like. So If you are using Aplos, this is kind of, if you're new, welcome. But again, this is kind of what our software looks like. But you can, but just know that in the accounting world, in Aplos, you can go to your accounts, you create an account list, and you can create funds. So in this case, in my nonprofit here, I've got a general fund, but I also have some very specific funds. I have a Mexico house build, I have a missions fund, I've got the Jeremy and Diane Albania project. These would be an example of a missionary. So this would be a fund. A fund is something that at the end of every year, you have a rollover balance and you want to track the income and expenses specific to that fund each year. And so that would be a way to do it. And then even more so, if you're tracking funds specifically, what you can then do is using our report feature. You go into reports, and what's really cool is you can save reports so you can rerun them. So I have kind of this missions report, but for the sake of this, I'm going to do a comparative income statement by fund. So what you can do is you can select this report. It's going to open up this report that's going to allow me to say, let's just say for this year, for example. And I'm going to select the funds that I'm interested in. So in this case, I'm going to select, I'm going to deselect this one, and I'm going to select the Mexico house build, this fund, and maybe the missions fund. And I hit apply. And then what will happen is I can easily track now the income and expenses to each one of these funds. So this becomes really important for churches and ministries that receive money that need to go to multiple places. And in today's case, multiple missions or missionaries. So by utilizing funds in fund accounting, it's a great way to track those funds, the income and expenses to each one of those funds. Again, the most common scenario when people call us and ask, how should I set up my funds? Should I set up a mission fund? Should I set up a fund for a specific missionary? Again, you have to think, is it long-term? Is it short-term? For example, if it's a short-term mission that might not happen year after year, there's a different way to do that, which we'll talk to you in a second, called tags. But for the sake of this, being able to track funds, and what's really cool is you can not only track the income and expenses, but you can also track where the income came from. So for example, maybe you want to track how much goes to each one of these mission projects by tithes and offerings, or how much comes from a fundraiser or something like that. So this is a really great way, just from a kind of a core, kind of a basic starting point, is to use software to track who gives, how they give, and where they give to, and in your case, to what missions and mission organizations those are going to. So I think this is a great tool and a great way to, again, utilize our software for that. So let's kind of keep going. So now another way people are going to do it. So we have funds, and one of the kind of the takeaways from this webinar I want to encourage folks to think about is that there's really not a wrong or a right way to do fund accounting. I see a question here from David, and I'll take a look at that in 1 second. And we'll address your question. Okay, so I'll come back to that here in 1 second. So my point being is that there's not really a wrong or a right way. It's really going to depend on what you want to track, how large your organization is, which I have a feeling, David, this is what your question is, which I'll come to after this point. I'll take a break and address that question. But we talked about funds, but another thing you can do in Aplos is you can create tags, or what we call custom tags. A tag will allow you to further categorize a transaction so you can see more detail in your reports. Or, for example, if you don't want to create 100 funds, for example, let's say, for example, you have a mission budget or a mission fund in your church, and you've got maybe 10 different projects within that mission fund, and you don't care about creating a budget within each one of those. You just want to track each one of those, or maybe you have a fundraiser for the missions. You can create a tag. A tag is almost like a subcategory, and so what fund accounting allows you to track all types of accounts for a particular purpose, where custom tags are going to apply to just the income and expenses. So, as an example, let's say your church or ministry has multiple projects, missionaries, and projects for your missions fund, And although all the money raised will end up in your missions fund, you still want to track the income and expenses for each of those projects and missionaries. So you can use tags by tracking those as kind of a subcategory. So it's just a different way to approach it. So a lot of folks, what they do is they'll create a general missions fund, and then they will tag different missionaries or projects. Again, this is just one way to do it. Again, it's not wrong or right. At the end of the day, it's about what it is you want to track, and what level of detail you need to pull for the people that you're accountable. If you're a mission-based organization, you might have a board. If you're a church, you might have a leadership board or a session or a budget or a finance committee. So you have to ask the question, what do I want to track, and at what level of detail? So you can choose the proper mission custom tag each time you enter a transaction for that project. So you can assign it a fund and a tag. So again, at the end of the day, let me show you what it looks like in the software. So again, we're going to go to back to the software. So excuse me, I'm going to kind of bounce around a little bit again. So we're going to go back to the software. And in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to do it in a comparative income statement by custom tag. So different than fund, you had your general fund, your missions fund, your building fund. In this case, we're going to do custom tag. And the same idea is you can filter all of our reports. You can do it by, the time frame. Again, we're going to say this year. And then you can, again, do it by which custom tags you do. So in this case, I have these custom tags called Outreach Project, Car Wash Fundraiser. So again, what I can do is I can take my missions fund and then break these down more specifically within that fund as a subcategory. So that's another way you can do it. And again, tracking income and expenses into each one of those tags. So again, we highlighted kind of two ways you can go about it. The first way is to create funds. Now, we do have some organizations that use Aplos that have created 15, 20, 25 different funds, and that's absolutely okay. They would create a fund for each missionary or mission-based project. We don't say that it's right or wrong. Again, the biggest difference is that if you have a rollover balance every year, we would typically encourage you to create a fund. But if it's something that's maybe going to be short term or one time, or at the end of the day, however many's left over in that account, doesn't really matter, then you can create a tag for that. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So let me take a break here real quick and just address this question from David. Seems like having one fund per person missionary project would be unruly for a larger organization. We have 70 plus raising support on staff and 100 support projects each year. What tips would you have for this? Yeah, so that's exactly the situation, David, where I was just referring to, which is in this case, you might want to create tags within that, and then you can track each of those kind of sub-missionaries within those tags. Our churches uses purposes and making tags to ensure that was offered is spent. Our church, yeah, that's great. I think that's great. For context, we currently use a missions fund, then accounts for spring break support, spring expense, then tags for each spring break project, then purposes for each individual raising support. And I would say, David, that's actually a really great way to do it. So for those of you who maybe didn't quite flow that, what David is suggesting is that instead of creating, 70 funds, they're going to create a missions fund and then tag the different mission projects within that missions fund. And I'm going to show you in a few minutes some donation pages and some other ways to track that. But I think, David, it looks like to me like you guys have the idea down pretty well. So again, the great thing about reports is you can kind of filter and move around based on what it is you want to track based on that. So you can also again, look at each thing specifically. So let's go back into here a little bit. So again, we talked about a way to utilize our custom tags. Again, And then also we have purposes. So we have funds, we have tags or custom tags, and then we have purposes. And purposes are used to track the different types of categories of donations that you actually receive. So you can set up a purpose to be linked to an income account and funds so that the donations you record can be linked to your accounting. So for example, the scenario would be you have a missions fund, and you have a missionary within that missionary fund. So you've got mission fund, you've got the Mexico mission build project, and if you create a purpose, then when you go to whether it's an online form or you get a check in the mail, you receive a donation, you can track that donation from that donor to a specific fund, missions fund, and to a specific purpose, which in this case would be the Mexico mission project. So again, then when you pull reports, you can find all of that back into your accounting, which is a really cool way to do that. So again, let's go back into the software. You're going to kind of track this a little differently, but in this case, what you can do, one of the most common reports we have here at Aplos is what we call our donations by contact report. And so what you can do is utilizing that donations by contact report, you can actually put either this year, last year, whichever. Let's go this year just for the sake of the demo. And you can do it by purpose. So then I can then see who's giving how much to what purposes. So let's just say, again, these are the different funds. We'll click off that. We'll click off that. We'll click off that. We'll click off that. And we'll just say, something like that. So then I can see, again, who's giving what, and then you can actually put more detail if you want. So you can actually show, in this case, who's giving to what fund. So again, a different way to do that. But purposes are where you set up the route in which you can track, who's giving where and to what cause or purpose. So I think that is another way to kind of go about doing that as well. So we have funds, we have purposes, and then we have custom tags. Now, one other kind of side note I do want to mention is that here at Aplos, for those of you who do or do not know, we have we have different levels of our software. We have a starter, we have a standard, we have an advanced. Of course, there's different pricing with that. Our advanced, there are some features that you can use in advance that are not available in starter and standard. And the reason is that there's some very specific kinds of tracking, some details that you can do that you cannot do in the other two. So if you are a mission-based organization and you are, say, for example, a large organization and you've got maybe, tons and tons of mission projects out there, you might want to consider advanced if you're not currently using it. Or if you want more information at the end, I'm going to leave you my information. Let us know. We can give you a demo of that. So let me stop real quick before I get into this and address this question. From Doug, we are currently creating a fund per missionary that is published to a third-party partner for on-demand tracking by each worker. Does the Aplos API connect the tag level? Doug, I'm going to need to get back to you on that. There are a couple ways to approach that, but I would have to check on the API part of the tag level, okay? But I will respond to you personally about that. Is there anything in the works to have more donation reports, like breakdown by purpose or tag instead of by donor? Yes, there are. In fact, we have a couple of feature requests on the donor management side in reports that are literally in the works, and I would say are going to be updated in the near future. So, David, let's stay in contact about that, and I will also follow up with you regarding your question on that. So let's keep moving along here a little bit, just again for sake of time and kind of keep going. I want to be sensitive of your time, but we do have an advanced feature in Aplos. Again, if you want more information about that, we'll let you know how to do that. But a few additional things you can do in advance that you can't do in the other one, you can do departmental tags, meaning that you can do details within a mission tag. And let me kind of clarify that because it can get a little confusing. But again, with custom tags that we already explained, you can tag something within a fund. With departmental tags, what you can do is you can do very specific tracking. So let's say, for example, you have a missions fund and you want to do a fundraiser for a specific mission. What you can do is you can create a tag, and then you can go into a lot more level detail of that specific fundraiser, the income and expense within just that specific fundraiser or specific mission or ministry. You can also do a budget by fund in advance, meaning with Aplos, Starter and Standard, you can do one overall organizational budget. Say you're going to put this much towards administration, this much towards youth, this much towards the phone, this much towards missions. With a budget by fund, you can actually then create a very detailed budget within each one of the funds you create, as well as you can budget by tag. So you can do a budget for missionary A, missionary B, mission project C, so on and so forth. So what you're getting with Advance is a higher level of detail. Again, this is going to be for folks who have larger budgets, or folks who are, in the case of like Macarius, who I know is on, who's joined us today. I know that they're, and again, I'm using them because I know them, but they are a mission-based organization where 100% of their efforts is sending missionaries, throughout different regions. So that might be a case of using it advanced. There's also a custom report manager in Advance where say the scenario is you have a missionary, the missionary is in Costa Rica, the missionary wants to be able to access a report to show how much has been given to his or her mission, their support. They can have a read-only access to just their tag, or their fund, that only they can read, and they don't have to read the other information that's in there. So this is really helpful for organizations where the missionaries are maybe tracking their donors and sending thank yous and reports and things like that. So there is a higher level custom report manager in there as well. And then the last, one of another feature is there is a higher level reporting. Again, the comparative income report is a real high level feature. Again, if you have Advanced, you could do something like this where you can actually side by side, you can look at each project and the income and expenses. And again, you could break this down into much more detail. I'm doing this for the sake of the demo for today. Whereas with Standard and Starter, what you're getting, or Standard, you have the ability to create a tag, so you can do a report by tag or a report by fund, but this is going to do all the detail. So again, that's an advanced feature that if you are interested in, please let us know, and we'll get that over to you or get in touch with somebody. Next kind of area I want to talk about is our donation pages and how you can utilize our donation pages. Again, not sure, if you are or not using our donation pages, but I think one of the great tools of the Aplos software is customized donation pages that allow your donors an easy and convenient way to support your organization with an online gift. Donors will be able to easily create a one-time donation or set up reoccurring. Hopefully I know some of you guys are using those because I recognize some of the names on here, but utilizing the online donation page builder you can set up purposes that we talked about and giving opportunities to those missions, projects, missionaries, and special causes. I think, again, this is a really powerful tool that we have. One of the kind of highlights that I really like about our pages is that you can do multiple pages. Let me stop here real quick from Carl. How many persons can have read-only access under advanced feature? We support 20 missionaries. So Carl, again, I'm going to reach back out to you personally on that question, because I think there are different levels of the advanced feature and how many users you have and all of that. So the pricing will change, but we have different levels that multiple people can read, so on and so forth. But I'll respond to you personally on that one. Okay. So again, with our online donation page, there are you can use multiple pages. So what I'd like to do is spend a few minutes of this webinar, and I'm going to actually kind of go through some pages that we like, or that I like, or that I'm aware of. I'm sure there's probably some I've missed. But for this sake of right now, I want to kind of go over some pages to kind of give you a taste of how some of our partners out there are utilizing the page or the pages, and maybe give you some ideas. So I'm going to start right up here with, actually, I'm going to start with Makarios. I think Makarios has done a really good job, and I want to welcome, I think it's Rob from Makarios. I forgot your name wrong. I'm wrong. I'm sorry. But we have Makarios is a great partner, and they've done a really great job with the pages. And again, I want to emphasize that the online donation page, if you're not aware, is a page that you attach to your website. So this is the Makarios website. By the way, it's a beautiful website. I want to commend you guys on that. But when you go to their Donate Now page, what they've done is they've utilized their entire donation page area to different online donation forms using Aplos. So for example, if you want to give to the Makarios school, you go to Donate Now, and it's going to open up a page, again, customizable with their logo, with a photo, with some detail about some impact and things like that, as well as the information that they want to capture on their page. What's unique here is that, again, the only thing you're given to here is the school. So they utilize this kind of link for the school. But what I really like that Makarios done is if you want to support multiple missionaries, you go to their missionaries page. So you go to Donate Now. Again, same idea where they've done a customized logo, some instructions, some things they want to know. Again, here's some different information. You click here for if you want to mail a check. But this is what I wanted to highlight right here. If you go to the purpose, we talked about purposes, and you select a ministry, this is where you would go to select which missionary you want to support. What's nice about this is then they have one place where you can go to get a menu of different people. So this would be a situation where you have multiple missionaries or teams that you want to support. So it's another great way to utilize the page. So I think they've done a really nice job. So again, so then what happens is when a donation is made, when the administration folks go into the Aplos software right over here, if they go into the software, and this is my account, by the way, not theirs, so don't panic, and they go into their fundraising and they go to online donations, they would then see who's giving to what purpose, and they can track it appropriately. So really great use of the software there. Same way as the building campaigns, same way as the group ministries as well. So again, Makarios, want to kind of commend you guys doing a great job with those. A couple other things about our online donation forms. Again, they're very customizable in terms of throwing a picture in, as well as the donor information. I really like this feature right here, which is asking the donors to pay for the donation or the transaction fee. Please know and understand that almost all credit card processors are going to have a processing fee. We use WePay at Aplos. WePay is our credit card processing partner, and the transaction fees are 2% for ACH and 3% for Visa MasterCard, with 30 cents per transaction. And I think it's been a great tool. The one thing I want to say is that if you want to use our donation page, you do have to use WePay as the processor. So just kind of want to highlight that. So that's a nice page as well. So Makarios, good job. A couple others I want to highlight. This is a local ministry here in Fresno, California, where Aplos is located. And they've done a really nice job. What I really like this is that they've utilized the colors of their page, as well as really clean, easy to use, easy to fill out. And then if you go to their purposes, and they've been able to, so in their case, they're using their form to give to the main sort of purposes within their organization. So nice job from them. So they've done a nice job there. So let's go to another one. West African Vocational Schools, again, another Aplos partner. One of the things I like about their page that they've done is that we do have organizations that don't only just use WePay, but they have other things, other places. So for example, you can use both PayPal and we pay as part of here. So in their case, what they've done is they're very clear on their instructions in terms of what they want people to do to support their mission. So again, whether it's a one-time or reoccurring, they've used this space really well as if you want to sponsor a teacher, you go here. If you're a PayPal user, they've given you an additional place to go, as well as I really do encourage folks to have a phone number on your online donation page. Want to highlight that all the donation levels are customizable, so you can create mission partners, you can create different levels and name them to your missions and partners as well. So again, nice job there as well. A couple others I want to highlight as we kind of whip through this here a little bit. Some other folks that kind of came to attention. This was one that recently was kind of created. Again, nice job on their website. I'm always amazed at the number of websites I go to, and I have a tough time finding the Donate Now button. So I do like these pages where the Donate Now button is easy to find. So you go here. They let you know that they are a 501c3. You click to donate. And again, going to the page, they've utilized their logo and the colors. Again, a nice message with a photo. They start to look the same after a while. But again, here you go to purpose. And what we did here is what happens in Aplos is if you don't, in the purpose, the first person on the list will show up here. So what we did is we actually created a purpose called Select a Person. Even though it's not a real purpose, that shows up here. So that what you can do is you can click here and then you can select what it is you want to do. So again, they've used one page to support all the different people and projects within their organization, and then that all drops into their accounting. So I like that was a nice work around that, because if this Select a Person wasn't there, Maria Carter would be the first person on the list, and then people would think, oh, that's all I can support is Maria Carter. So they've given you a very specific instruction. So again, if you didn't catch that, they selected a purpose in purposes, and that's where they went to do that. Let me show you really quickly where to do that. If you're not familiar, if you go to donor management and you go to purposes, this is where you go to create your purposes in the software and whether or not you want to link them into your accounting or not. So you just do that right here. So just kind of FYI. So they've done a nice job as well. Let me take a break here real quick. Nicole, we used a donation page when I purchased online. It created a new account for me. I then had two accounts in Aplos, one for the online donation and one for the account tracked to me for Sunday donations. Nicole, is that I want to come back around to you on that one. Can you use a list of tags instead of purposes? Can you use it? I do not think so. I think you have to use purposes. Tags are going to be more where you want those funds to go, but purposes, I don't think you can interchange tags and purposes, Fred. Sorry about that. Maybe let me know privately when I get my email what you're trying to do with that, and we'll see if we can create a workaround for you around that. So so we'll do one more and then we'll address any other questions as well. So one other one, the City Church of Woodbine, again, same thing. They have a lot of folks within their church that go on short-term and long-term missions. So each one of their folks create their own donation pages as well. So again, really nice use of our donation pages. So I think the thing here at this point I want to kind of emphasize, or what I'm trying to emphasize, is there's really 2 or 3 different ways you can do this. You can create it one page for multiple people and projects, or you can create links so that, like Macarios did, so that each link you click to has its own unique page or a place where they're giving. At the end of the day, though, what you want to make sure is that whatever purpose is linked up is that's hooked up into your accounting from there. So those are some examples. We just kind of wanted to highlight for those of you who are either new, or maybe you already are a user and you're just kind of curious kind of what other people are doing in the software by utilizing the donation pages. So those are just some pages we like. Again, want to just kind of encourage you to also, you can utilize Aplos software for follow-up and stewardship. You can, again, we highlighted reports a little bit, but also know that we have our email campaign builder. Again, I'm going to jump back into the software with your permission, and kind of, again, let you know some places you can do that. Again, reports can happen both in donor management and in accounting, but we also have in donor management, we have this email campaign builder, email templates. So what you can do is you can create email templates like thank yous and things like that, and track who's giving, where they're giving to, and then send out nice emails, as well as send out maybe reports, newsletters, updates, and communicate back to the people who are giving to those mission organizations. Again, one of the things we're really excited about at Aplos is what we're trying to do is create as many tools as possible within the software, so you don't have to keep leaving or using a third party for something. So you can utilize our email campaign builder to reach out to your donors and your mission partners as well. So that's a really nice tool. So you can create templates, and then within that template, what you can do is you can send out regular thank yous and things like that. Again, Makarios does a really great job with that. I know a few others. So if you want some more information about how to utilize those, certainly let me know. So, and again, last but not least, I just kind of want to emphasize, the idea that, storytelling is huge right now. I spend a lot of time in my webinars talk about storytelling. So as you're tracking those donors and the accounting, and you're creating those funds and purposes, you want to also create ways to tell stories, getting back to folks about how those, I love it when people highlight mission partners in their churches and ministries, but I also think that there's a lot of other ways in terms of websites and things like that. CharityWater.org does a really great job telling their story about impact, where the money's going, and what difference it's making. So utilize these reports not just by a boring numbers report, but take those reports and show impact. Send out emails and tell stories. So with that, I want to just kind of open up for some Q&A. I'm going to throw up this slide with my contact information on there. So there's a couple of you that I want to do some follow-up with that you've asked me some questions, and I will. Fred, I would like to reach out to you as well as a couple others. But at this point, if you have any other questions or things about Aplos that we can address right now, let me know. Yeah, so any other questions? Great. Once again, somebody asked just again, WePay is our online donation processor. There is no fees for utilizing our page. The only fees involved are going to be the transaction fees. Is there a way to automatically add a new online donor to a specific group? Doug, let me think that over here for a second. I don't think that's there, but Doug, I'll come back to you on that one. I need help with reconciling accounts monthly, but I have to contact you privately on that. Okay, great. Please do that. You can do that. You can obviously reach out to the Apple support line, but obviously my email is here. Please reach out to us. Again, I want to highlight and again emphasize our customer support is something we are very proud of. And it is something that we want to, again, encourage. Please utilize our resources, our phones. We can help you create a page if that's something you're struggling with. If you just want to bounce ideas about best practices, and we don't give accounting advice per se, but we're going to certainly look at your software and see if there's ways to better utilize those. Do multiple organizations use common information using the multi-church level? Yeah, I mean, our advanced customers, I would say definitely use shared information. and utilizing the custom reporting and things like that. So again, it is a price jump, but I do think that we have some organizations that are really used advanced to a nice level. I noticed that for deposit, I can't acknowledge special donations, only for individual contributions. So one of the things, Gertrude, we are working on, we have a series of upgrades that are happening. And in that upgrade is going to include the ability to track more specific purposes and more widgets. We call them widgets on the page for things like special projects, special donations, things like that. A little more flexibility, and I think you're going to be able to. We're going to see that pretty soon in those upgrades. When you use PayPal on your donation page, does the donor have to fill out the form and record the donation through PayPal? I'm not as familiar with PayPal, but I believe so. I mean, I think the PayPal forms, I'm not 100% sure. I just know that we do have people that use PayPal, and what they do is they create an asset account of a PayPal account, and then they input those donations the same way they would WePay. Unfortunately, I'm just not as familiar with the PayPal online donation page as much. I know that they're not as flexible. Are you going to keep the classic report system? I believe we are at this point. I had to step away. We use your software. Is there any way to pull an ETAP donor data over? What is an ETAP? Keith, can you clarify for me what an ETAP donor data over and use one system? If you could, why is there a difference between deposit and the donation form? The deposits are different in that it's how you're tracking your deposit. If I understand your question right, so you can track checks and cash. Online donation form is so you can track those credit card processing and get those out on the website. If you can send emails and create templates within Aplos, does that mean Aplos maintains a database within the software? Yes, you do have a database within the Aplos software in our donor management side. You cannot print a directory per se, but you can track notes about donors. So Karen, in that case, you're looking at our full donor management product, which is an add-on to accounting. If you want more information about that, I would love to get back to you that, but go to our website, look at donor management. I can also share with you some info, as well as I do a live demo every Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on donor management. But yes, we have an ability to do database, track notes, all of that kind of information about your donors. Oh, eTapestry from Blackbaud. So let me go back to your original question. Is there a way to pull ETAP donor data? We'll have to contact you individually about the Blackbaud if you can integrate into Aplos from that. It would be great to have one system for accounting and donor management. Keith, we do have one system for donor management and accounting in Aplos. Let me show. I mean, I can show you that really quickly. The feature sets are probably not as in depth as like Blackbaud is, but Aplos does in fact have donor management and accounting in one system. So if you're using Blackbaud and Aplos, that might be a little tougher, but I do want to let you know we do have that. How long does Aplos keep reports from previous years? When you save a report, that report stays as long as you maintain your account. We don't wipe those reports. So what you can do is in the report section, you can save a report and go back to it. Okay, great questions, you guys. Again, a few of you I will get back to on that. Keith, I'm intrigued by your question, so I would like to reach back out to you if that's okay. And we can have some more conversations. So, I apologize for a couple of you if there were some questions I didn't answer directly, but we will let you know on those. So, I want to again just kind of be sensitive to your time as we're getting kind of closer to the top of the hour. Yeah, great, Keith. We'll be in touch. Thank you. again, we want to thank you. Hopefully there was some takeaways for each of you here. Again, whether or not, if you're an Aplos customer, we want to thank you for your partnership. We are trying to improve every day. We come to work, we get excited about, trying new things and improving our software, and we rely on you, the customer, to let us know what's working, what's not, and we try to make those changes as we go. We have also, I think, awesome customer support. So talk to us, let us know how it's going. If you're new, if you're not using Aplos and you're checking us out for the first time, again, would love to have you try our 15-day trial, or give us a call. Send me an email right here at dan.kimball@Aplos, and let us know if we can answer any of your questions. So with that, again, a recording of this webinar will be available. We'll send you an email for those of you who registered here. And again, with that, I'm going to wish you all a great day and all the best in your missions and mission organizations and tracking those missions. So thanks, everybody, and we'll talk to you again.